The arena was filled with silence. Hundreds of alien eyes stared at the center ground where a young alien girl stood with her hands tied. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes shining with fear. She was small compared to the tall armored guards around. The alien judge, a tall figure with silver markings on his face, raised his hand. His voice echoed across the stone walls. The punishment is 10 lashes. She has broken the law. She must pay. The crowd of aliens murmured. Some were angry, some were excited, but many looked away. Nobody wanted to see a child suffer. Yet the law was clear. The whipmaster stepped forward. He carried the energy whip glowing with red sparks. Each lash from it could burn flesh, cut deep, and leave scars forever. The girl trembled, her knees. Shaking, she tried to be brave, but a tear rolled down her cheek. Then, from the side of the arena, a voice spoke. Calm, steady, but loud enough for all to hear. Stop. The crowd turned. A human soldier stepped forward. His clothes were dusty, his face hard from many battles. He had seen war, blood and fire, but now he walked with firm steps into the circle. The alien guards crossed their weapons. Human, this is not your matter, one hissed. But the human kept walking. His eyes did not leave the girl. He stopped. In front of her, he untied the rope from her wrists with steady hands. The girl gasped, confused. The crowd roared in shock. The judge slammed his staff on the ground. You dare interfere with the law? The human turned slowly to face him. His voice was strong. If someone must suffer, let it be me. The silence in the arena grew heavy. No one could believe what he had said. A human offering himself for an alien girl? The guards looked at one another, unsure if this was madness or bravery. The judge narrowed his eyes. You will take her punishment? 10 lashes with the whip? The human nodded, calm as stone. Yes, 10 lashes, give them to me. The alien girl shook her head. No, you cannot. They will kill you. But the human only placed a hand on her shoulder. His touch was gentle, his voice low. You are not the one who will bleed today. The guards dragged the girl away and forced the human to the post. They tied his arms above his head, his back bare for all to see. The whipmaster smiled cruelly. For him, pain was an art. The crowd leaned forward, every breath held, every heart beating fast. A human was about to take punishment meant for one of their own. The first lash cracked through the air. The whip struck the human's back. A bright flash of red light burned into his skin. Blood spilled instantly. Gasps rose from the crowd. The girl screamed, trying to break free. But the guards held her. The human clenched his teeth. He did not cry out. He stood firm. The second lash came. Then the third. Each strike tore his skin more. Each strike painted the ground with blood. But still, he stood, his jaw tight, his eyes locked on the girl as if telling her, do not fear. The alien brothers of the girl watched. From the crowd, their fists clenched, their pride boiling. Why would a human do this? Why suffer for her? The fourth lash cracked. The fifth followed. The human's body shook, but he still refused to scream. His silence echoed louder than any cry. The whipmaster grew angry. He wanted to hear him break. He wanted to hear him beg. But the human gave nothing. Only blood, only strength. By the sixth lash, his back was torn open, his breathing heavy, but his eyes still burned with fire. The seventh lash fell, his knees bent for a moment, but he forced himself to stand tall. The eighth lash left, a long burning line. The crowd was no longer whispering, they were silent, their alien hearts struggling to understand this man. The ninth lash cracked. The human's blood dripped down his legs, his body trembling, but his spirit unbroken. The 10th lash fell. The whipmaster shouted with rage, but when the whip landed, the human did not fall. He remained standing, his back torn, his body shaking, but his head held high. The judge stared in shock. The crowd sat frozen. Never in their lives had they seen such a thing. The girl cried openly, her voice breaking. Why? Why would you do this? The human looked at her, his voice rough but steady. Because no child should suffer when I can stand in her place. And then, his body collapsed to the ground. The guards rushed forward. The girl's brothers stepped out from the shadows, their eyes wide, their anger burning. The arena had witnessed something new, something no alien law could explain. The human had endured 10 lashes of fire, not for himself, but for her, and nothing in their world would ever be the same again. The human lay on the cold stone floor of the arena. His back was torn and bleeding, his body shaking, yet his spirit still unbroken. The alien crowd stared in silence, unable to understand what they had just seen. The alien girl ran forward, tears running down her pale blue cheeks, but the guards caught her before she reached him. She cried out, "Please let me go. He will die." But the guards held her tight. They could not allow her to touch him. The alien judge raised his staff once more. His silver markings glowed faintly. His voice echoed, "The punishment has been served. The law is satisfied," yet even he sounded unsure. His eyes narrowed as he looked at the human. The human groaned but forced himself to push up on his hands. His muscles trembled, his blood stained the floor. Still, he rose slowly to his knees. Refusing to remain broken, the crowd gasped again. It was not natural. No alien would have stood after such pain. The whipmaster sneered, "Weak creature. You bleed like all the rest, you are nothing special." But deep in his eyes was frustration. He had wanted the human to beg, to scream, to collapse like a beaten animal. Instead, the human endured in silence. The alien brothers of the girl stepped forward from the crowd. They were tall, strong, and known as warriors. Their armor was marked with scars from battles fought long before this day. They stared at the human, their faces unreadable, their hearts torn between pride and confusion. One brother whispered to the other, "Why would he do this? He is not of our blood." Another answered, "Perhaps he is mad. Perhaps he wants glory." But deep inside they both knew it was something else, something they could not yet name. The alien girl's cries filled the arena. Her voice was sharp with grief. "He should not have taken my pain, I never asked him to." Yet her eyes would not leave the human. Her hands trembled as she tried to break free of the guards. The human looked at her through blurred vision. His lips cracked, his voice low, but firm. "Be strong. They will not hurt you again." His words reached her heart. She felt them like fire in her chest. The judge spoke again. "Human, you have interfered with our law. You have brought shame to our court. Why did you do this?" His voice demanded an answer. The human raised his head, his face pale but his eyes bright with stubborn fire. "Because no law should break a child. Because strength is meant to protect, not destroy." The crowd murmured. Some were shocked. Some were angry, but many felt a strange weight in their chests. His words carried something powerful, something that went beyond law. The whipmaster spat on the ground. "He speaks like a fool. His blood is wasted." But when he looked at the faces of the alien warriors in the crowd, he saw doubt. He saw something he did not like. The human tried to stand again, his legs weak, his hands shaking. Each movement caused his wounds to open wider. Blood ran down his back like rivers. But he refused to fall. He refused to show weakness. The alien brothers exchanged glances. One clenched his fists. His heart pounded. He had fought many battles, but he had never seen courage like this. Another lowered his head, ashamed that he had once doubted the human. The judge finally waved his hand. "Enough. Take him away before he dies here. Give him no honor. Let him suffer alone." The guards moved to drag him, but the alien girl screamed louder. Her voice echoed through the arena. "No, do not touch him. He saved me. You cannot treat him like this." The crowd stirred again. Their whispers grew louder. Many now questioned the fairness of their own law. A single act of sacrifice had planted doubt in the hearts of thousands. The human was carried to the side, his vision fading, his breath shallow. Yet he forced himself to whisper one more time, "She is safe. That is enough." The alien brothers followed. They could not walk away now. Something inside them had changed. They stood near him as he was laid on the ground, watching him with new eyes. One brother finally spoke, his voice low but heavy with meaning. "If he lives, we owe him more than thanks. We owe him our respect." Another nodded. And if he dies, his name will not be forgotten. The girl's tears fell on the ground as she knelt beside him. She pressed her hand to his arm, whispering, "Please do not leave us. Please hold on." The human opened his eyes just enough to see her. A faint smile crossed his face despite the pain. "Do not cry, little one. Tears are wasted on me." Then, his eyes closed, his body went still. The arena fell into silence again. The judge turned away, his face dark. The law had been carried out, but something far greater had been unleashed. The alien brothers stood tall, watching the human with burning eyes, their hands on their weapons, their hearts filled with a strange fire. This human had changed something inside them, something no law could erase, and though the punishment was over, the true story had only just begun. The night after the punishment, the alien city did not sleep. Word of the human's sacrifice spread like fire through the streets. From the crowded markets to the tall stone towers, voices whispered the same story. The human took 10 lashes. For the girl, he stood when no one else would. Merchants closed their stalls early. Warriors sharpened their blades in silence. Mothers held their children tighter. The story reached every ear, and with it came a strange feeling none could name. The human lay inside a small chamber, his body wrapped in rough bandages. His breathing was weak but steady. His chest rose and fell with effort. Blood had dried on his skin, but the wounds burned with fire. The alien girl sat beside him, her eyes swollen from crying. She refused to leave. Her brother stood near the door, guarding him as if he were already part of their family. One brother, the eldest, spoke at last. "I do not understand. He is not of our blood, he is not of our world, yet he gave himself for her. Why?" The second brother shook his head, his jaw tight. "Perhaps he saw weakness in us. Perhaps he wanted to show he is stronger." The youngest brother looked at the human with quiet eyes. "No, I saw his face when the whip fell. That was not pride. That was not glory, that was protection," the girl whispered. "He should not have done it, I never asked him, he should not have suffered." But deep in her heart, she felt something she had never felt before. Hope. Outside, the people gathered, in small groups speaking in hushed tones. Some were angry, saying the human had broken their law. Others were uncertain, wondering if perhaps their law had been broken long before. One old alien muttered, "Our laws are stone, but stone can crack. Did we not see courage with our own eyes?" Another answered, "No alien has ever taken lashes for another, not even family. Only this human did such a thing." The whispers grew stronger with every passing hour. They called him foolish, they called him brave, but all agreed on one thing. He was different. Inside the chamber, the human stirred, his eyes opened slowly. He saw the girl watching him with worried eyes. He tried to smile, though his lips trembled. "You are safe. That is what matters." The girl shook her head. "You should not speak, rest." But the human ignored her. His voice was weak but firm. "Pain passes, but if you had suffered, it would never leave me." The brothers heard his words and their hearts shifted. They had been raised to fight, to win honor through strength, but this human had shown a different kind of strength, the kind that did not seek glory only to shield. One brother knelt down beside him, his voice low. "Human, you have changed something in us. You may not see it yet, but your act has broken more than chains. It has broken pride." The human closed, his eyes again, his body exhausted, but the faint smile on his face remained. That same night, a council of elders gathered. They spoke in a great hall lined with glowing stones. The judge was there, his silver markings brighter than ever. His voice was sharp. "The human has dishonored us. He defied the law. He should be exiled." But another elder raised her hand. "Exiled? You would exile the one who showed more courage than any of us? The people speak his name with respect. Can you not hear them?" The judge slammed his staff. "Respect means nothing if the law is broken." The elder's eyes narrowed. "Or perhaps the law means nothing if it destroys what is good." The council fell into silence. For the first time in years, they did not agree. Back in the chamber, the alien girl finally slept, her hand resting gently on the human's arm. Her brothers watched through the night, Silent and thoughtful, one brother whispered to the others, "If he dies, his name will live forever. If he lives, then perhaps our world will never be the same." The youngest brother looked out the window at the stars, his voice heavy with certainty. "No matter what happens, he has already changed us." In the streets below, children played while chanting his name. Warriors spoke of him with grudging respect. Even the ones who hated him could not forget what they had seen. The whispers became stronger than the judge's commands, stronger than the old laws. They spread from house to house, from family to family, until the entire city felt the weight of them. The human sacrifice had become more than a story. It had become a seed planted in alien soil, a seed that could not be removed. By dawn, the city was alive with a new fire. Some feared it, some welcomed it, but none could ignore it. And in the quiet of his chamber, the human slept, unaware that his pain had already begun to reshape a world that was not his own. The morning sun rose over the alien city. Its light touched the tall towers and stone streets. But the hearts of the people were already awake with whispers. The story of the human had spread everywhere, and now it reached the ears of every warrior, every elder, every child. Inside the chamber, the human still slept, his body weak and torn. His breathing was steady but shallow. The alien girl sat near him, her hand never leaving his arm, her eyes red from crying, but her spirit unbroken. Her brothers stood near the doorway, their weapons at their sides, their faces sharp with anger and confusion. The eldest brother, broad-shouldered and proud, spoke first, his voice heavy. "This cannot continue. We cannot protect him. If the council calls for his death, we cannot stop it." The second brother paced across the floor, his armor clinking with each step. His jaw was tight, his eyes full of fire. "And yet, if we let him die, we become less than him. He gave his body for our sister. He bled where none of us stood." The youngest brother leaned against the wall, his gaze thoughtful. "I watched him," he said softly. "I watched him take each lash without fear. That was not the act of a fool. That was the act of a man who values something greater than himself." The eldest brother turned sharply. "And what of our honor? What of our clan? If we kneel to him, if we follow him, we lose everything that makes us who we are." The second brother answered with rage. "No, we lose everything if we ignore him. If we let his sacrifice mean nothing, then we are cowards." The alien girl raised her head, her voice trembling but strong. "You speak of honor and pride, but he did not care about pride. He cared about me. He cared that I would not suffer. Is that not greater than your honor?" The eldest brother looked at her, his eyes softening for a moment, but then he turned away. He could not answer, his heart was torn. Outside the chamber, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed. Soldiers marched through the streets. The judge had ordered them to keep watch on the human. His survival had become dangerous. His sacrifice was planting questions in the hearts of the people, questions the council feared. The brothers knew this. They knew the city could not remain the same. Some would want to protect the human. Others would want to see him destroyed. That night, the brothers gathered around a small fire in the courtyard. The human slept nearby, guarded by their sister. The eldest brother spoke again, his voice low. "We are divided, our people are divided. The human is the cause. If we stand with him, we stand against our own kind." The second brother leaned forward, his voice sharp. "If we abandon him, we abandon ourselves. He has shown us a different way. He has shown us that strength is not in cruelty but in sacrifice." The youngest brother looked into the flames, his eyes steady. "We must choose. Do we follow the law, or do we follow what we saw with our own eyes?" The silence between them grew heavy. The fire cracked softly. The night seemed to listen. At last the eldest brother stood, his voice cold. "If we follow him, we risk everything. Our clan will lose respect. Our enemies will rise against us." The second brother rose as well, his eyes burning. "And if we do not follow him, then we are no better than those who raised the whip." The two stared at each other, the air tense, their hands close to their weapons. The youngest brother stepped between them, his voice calm but strong. "Enough. The human did not suffer so we could fight each other. He suffered so one of us could live. That is what matters, that is what binds us now. The eldest brother clenched his fists, his pride battling his heart. The second brother's chest heaved with anger. But slowly, both lowered their heads. From the chamber behind them, a weak voice spoke. The human had woken, his words were faint but clear. Do not fight, your strength is not in battle with each other, it is in standing together. The brothers turned to him, their hearts struck by the truth of his words. The alien girl rushed to his side. You should rest, you should not speak. But the human shook his head, his eyes burning despite his weakness. No, you must hear me. The lash is only pain. It fades. But division is worse. It destroys. The brothers listened, their hearts unsettled, their pride wounded, yet they could not deny the truth. That same night outside in the city, voices rose again. The people argued, some shouted, "The human is dangerous. He weakens our laws." Others cried, "No, he is strong. He showed us a better way." The ow whispers had become open conflict. Families divided, warriors questioning their leaders. The judge grew angrier, plotting in silence. Back in the chamber, the brothers stood guard, their eyes never leaving the door, their hearts still uncertain. One brother whispered, "He has changed us, whether we want it or not. He has already bound us to him." The eldest said nothing, but deep in his chest the fire of pride began to shift into something else, something he could not name. The dilemma was not over. It had only begun. The human sacrifice had shaken the city, but it had also awakened old enemies. Far from the chamber where he rested, a rival clan gathered in the shadows of the mountains. Their leader, a scarred warrior with burning eyes, slammed his fist against a stone table. His voice roared, "The honor of our people has been stained. A human stepped into our law. A human took punishment meant for one of us. This cannot stand." His warriors shouted in agreement. Their armor clattered, their weapons gleamed in the firelight. They had always hated the girl's family. Now the human's actions gave them a reason to strike. In the city, whispers of fear began to spread alongside whispers of respect. Merchants locked their doors earlier. Mothers hurried their children indoors. Warriors kept their weapons close. They all knew conflict was near. Inside the chamber, the human struggled to sit upright. His wounds were still deep, his body weak, yet his spirit refused to rest. He asked the brothers, "What do your people say of me?" The eldest brother crossed his arms, his face like stone. "Some call you a hero, some call you a fool, and many call you a danger. You have split the city in two." The second brother leaned closer. "And now the rival clan has seen weakness. They prepare for war. They will use you as their excuse." The human's jaw tightened. "Then they come not only for me. They come for all of you." The youngest brother nodded, his voice calm but steady. "Yes, their blades will not care for truth. Only blood." The alien girl's eyes filled with fear. "We must leave. We must hide him before they come." But the human shook his head slowly, his eyes burned with quiet fire. "No, I will not hide. I will stand. If they want war, then they will face me too." The brothers exchanged uneasy glances. They saw the fire in him, even while his body was broken. It stirred something inside them, something that reminded them of their ancestors. That night, the rival clan sent a messenger. He rode into the city gates, his voice like thunder. "You have shamed us. You let a human bleed in your place. If you do not cast him out, if you do not erase his name, then we will erase you all." The message echoed through the city. The people trembled. The council gathered in secret. The judge smiled in the shadows, for now he saw a chance to rid himself of the human without dirtying his own hands. The brothers returned to the chamber, their faces grim. The eldest spoke first. "War is coming. They demand your life. They demand our sister's shame be wiped with blood." The human looked at each of them, his voice steady despite his weakness. "Then give them no shame. Give them no weakness. Stand, and I will stand with you." The second brother's voice was sharp with anger. "You can barely walk. How can you fight?" The human forced himself to his feet. His body trembled. Pain tore through him, but he did not fall. "I have fought with less. I have fought when death was certain. And still, I lived. The youngest brother placed a hand on his shoulder. You do not have to do this. You have already done more than enough. The human shook his head. No, my sacrifice was not enough. If they come for you, if they come for her, then my place is at your side. The alien girl clutched his arm, her eyes wide with fear. You cannot fight. They will kill you. The human knelt in front of her, his voice gentle. I may fall, but I will not let them touch you. That is my promise. The brothers stood in silence, their hearts heavy. They had been raised to trust only their own kind, to despise outsiders. Yet here stood a human, broken but unyielding, willing to fight for them when even their own people hesitated. That night, they prepared. The brothers sharpened their blades, polished their armor, and watched the stars above. The human sat nearby, cleaning his old rifle. Each movement slow but sure. Blood stained his bandages, but his hands did not shake. The rival clans' fires burned on the horizon. Their drums echoed in the distance. A storm was coming. The eldest brother clenched his fists. If we fight, our family may be destroyed. The second brother growled. If we do not fight, we are already destroyed. The youngest brother whispered. Then let us fight, but let us not fight alone. The human raised his weapon, his eyes fixed on the horizon. His voice was steady. Tomorrow they will see. Tomorrow they will learn what it means when a human stands. The brothers nodded. For the first time their hearts agreed, and so the night passed in silence. The city held its breath. The rival clans sharpened their hate. The council hid in fear. The people whispered. And in the shadows of dawn, war crept closer with every step. The dawn came heavy with silence. The air carried the weight of fear and steel. In the distance, the rival clans' drums thundered like rolling storms. Their warriors marched armored in black, carrying blades that gleamed red in the morning light. The city gathered at its gates. Families hid behind walls. Merchants locked their doors. Children watched with wide eyes as warriors lined the streets. The whispers of the human sacrifice still echoed, and now the people wondered if his courage would hold when true battle arrived. The human stood with the alien brothers, his body still broken from the lashes, his back wrapped in blood-stained bandages, but his eyes burned with steady fire. He carried his old rifle, its surface scratched and worn, yet it rested in his hands like an old friend. The eldest brother looked at him with doubt. You should not fight. You are weak, you can barely stand. The human tightened the strap of his weapon, his voice calm. I will stand long enough. The second brother struck the ground with his spear. They will come with fury. They will come for blood. Do you understand what awaits you? The human nodded. I do. I have seen fury before. I have seen death before, and I have seen men break under less. But I will not break today. The youngest brother placed a hand on the human's shoulder, his voice soft. Then we stand together. Whatever comes, we do not stand alone. The alien girl watched from the wall, her heart pounding. She wanted to scream, to beg him not to fight, but she saw the fire in his eyes and knew her words would mean nothing. He had already chosen. The rival clan reached the gates. Their leader rode at the front, his armor blackened, his face twisted with scars. He raised his blade high, his voice roared. You hide behind a human, you let an outsider shame our law. Today we erase you from the earth. The drums stopped, silence fell. The battle was seconds away. The human stepped forward. His voice carried across the walls, strong despite his wounds. You call me shame. You call me weak. But today you will see why humanity survives. You will see why we endure. The rival warriors laughed, mocking him. But in the crowd of the city, many felt their hearts stir. His words cut through their fear like steel. The leader raised his blade. The rival clan charged. The gates shook as warriors clashed. Steel met steel. Fire lit the air as blades sparked. The cries of battle rose like thunder. The brothers fought at the front, their armor gleaming, their strikes fast and sharp. The eldest swung his great blade, cutting through enemies like stone. The second thrust his spear with deadly speed. The youngest fought with precision, his movements graceful but deadly, and beside them, the human stood. His rifle roared with fire. Every shot struck true. Every shot dropped an enemy. His hands steady, his body refusing to yield. The rival clan pushed harder, their numbers greater, their cries filled with hate. But the human fought like a storm. Moving with skill earned from countless battles, he covered the brothers when they stumbled. He shielded the girl's people when the enemy broke through the lines. A rival warrior charged at him, blade raised high. The human dropped his rifle and met the strike with his knife. Their blades clashed, sparks flew. Pain tore through his body, but his grip did not weaken. With a sharp twist, he cut the enemy down. Blood splashed across the stones. The alien people watched from the walls, their voices rising. For the first time, they saw a human not as weak, not as strange, but as a warrior who fought for them. The battle raged on. The brothers fought harder, fueled by the human's courage. Every time he bled, they struck twice as hard. Every time he stood, they refused to fall. But the rival clan leader pressed forward, his strength greater than most. His blade cut through soldiers. His eyes locked. On the human, his voice a growl. "It is you I want. It is you who stains us." The human faced him, his rifle empty, his knife broken. Blood dripped from his wounds, his breath heavy, yet his eyes burned brighter than fire. "Then come," he said. The leader charged, his strikes fast, his power immense. The human met him blow for blow. Each strike rattled his bones, each clash burned his wounds deeper. Still he refused to fall. The eldest brother leapt in to shield him. The second drove his spear at the enemy's side. The youngest slashed with speed. Together they fought as one. The rival clan leader roared in rage, his power unmatched. But their unity forced him back, step by step, strike by strike. At last, the human saw an opening. With a final burst of strength, he drove his blade into the leader's chest. The rival roared, his eyes wide with shock. His weapon fell from his hands. His body crashed to the ground. Silence fell across the battlefield. The rival clan froze, their leader defeated, their courage broken. The human dropped his weapon, his chest heaving, his body trembling. He stood tall despite his pain, blood covering him like armor. The rival clan fled, their cries fading into the distance. The city gates closed behind them. The battle was won, but the ground was stained with blood and fire. The alien people erupted in cheers. Their voices shook the skies. They called his name. They raised their hands in respect. The brothers stood beside him, their armor covered in blood, their eyes full of pride. The youngest whispered, "He fought as one of us. No, he fought greater than any of us." The human fell to one knee, his strength gone but his spirit burning still. He looked at the alien girl, her eyes full of tears, her lips trembling, and he whispered, "You are safe. That is all that matters." And then his body gave way. He collapsed to the ground. The brothers rushed to him, their voices shaking. The battle was over, but their story was not. For in blood and fire, something greater had been forged. The battlefield was quiet. Smoke rose from the broken ground. The clash of steel and the cries of war had ended. Only silence and the heavy breath of survivors filled the air. The rival clan had fled into the mountains, their leader dead, their courage shattered. The city still stood, but its walls were stained with blood. Its people stared at the gates where a new story had been written. At the center of it all lay the human, his body broken, his bandages soaked red. His chest rose and fell with slow, painful breaths. The brothers knelt beside him, their hands trembling as they pressed against his wounds. The alien girl pushed through the crowd, her eyes wide with fear. She fell to her knees at his side, her small hands shaking as she touched his arm. "Please. You cannot leave us now." The human opened his eyes, just barely. His voice was weak, yet steady. "I told you you are safe, that is enough." The eldest brother bowed his head, shame heavy in his chest. "I doubted you, I called you weak. Yet you fought with strength I cannot understand." The second brother gripped the human's hand, his voice fierce. "You fought harder than us. You bled more than us. You stood when we should have fallen." The youngest brother placed his hand over the human's chest, feeling the faint heartbeat. His voice was quiet, but full of respect. You are no longer outsider. You are one of us now. The alien people gathered around. Hundreds filled the courtyard, their voices hushed, their eyes fixed on the human who had stood against death for them. Then something happened no one expected. The brothers stood and turned to face the crowd. Slowly, they knelt on one knee, their heads lowered before the human. The people gasped. Warriors who had once called themselves proud now bowed before a broken man. The eldest brother spoke loud enough for all to hear. This human has suffered for us. This human has fought for us. This human has given more than any of us ever would. From this day we swear loyalty to him. The second brother raised his voice, strong and fierce. He is no outsider. He is no enemy. He is our brother, bound not by blood but by sacrifice. The youngest finished, his words like fire. He stood alone when none of us would. For that we kneel, and for that we will rise with him. The crowd trembled. Some cried, some shouted, and slowly, one by one, more warriors knelt. Then mothers, then children, until the entire courtyard was filled with bent knees and bowed heads. The alien girl wept openly. Her tears fell on the human's arm. They see you as I see you, not as human, not as alien, but as protector, as family. The human tried to speak, but his voice broke. He had no words for this moment, only a faint smile, only a tear that slipped down his blood-stained face. The judge arrived with the council, his silver markings glowing with anger. He raised his staff, his voice sharp. This is madness. He is not one of us. He is a threat. He must be cast out. But his words were drowned by the voices of the people. They shouted as one, "Brother, brother, brother." The council could do nothing. The law had been broken, not by the human, but by the hearts of their own people. The whip had failed, the punishment had failed, but the human had not. The judge lowered his staff, his face dark with rage. He knew his power was slipping. He turned and walked away, his voice silent. The brothers lifted the human carefully, carrying him through the streets. The people followed, chanting his name not as outsider, not as stranger, but as kin. At the gates of their home, the brothers laid him down gently. The alien girl held his hand, whispering, "Rest now. You are safe. We will guard you as you guarded us." The human closed his eyes, his body sinking into sleep. But even in rest, his presence was strong, for he had become more than a man. He had become a symbol. That night, fires burned across the city, not of war, but of unity. Families gathered to tell the story. Warriors swore oaths. Children repeated the words. The human stood. The human bled. The human is one of us. The brothers sat in silence, watching the flames, their armor scarred, their hands stained, yet their hearts lighter than ever before. The eldest finally spoke, his voice filled with pride. We thought him weak, but he was stronger than us all. The second brother nodded. We thought him outsider, but he became our brother. The youngest looked at the stars above, his eyes calm. He came from another world, but his heart was made for ours. The alien girl rested beside the human, her eyes soft with peace. She knew the future would not be easy. The rival clan still lived, the council still plotted, but tonight, they were united. Tonight, they were one. And so the whispers of respect became shouts of loyalty. The kneeling of three brothers became the kneeling of an entire people. The human had endured the whip. He had survived the battle, and in pain, he had forged a bond that no law could break. The story of blood and sacrifice was no longer just his. It belonged to them all. And though the war was not over, a new dawn had begun.